welcome back to Cooking with Sarah. I have redone my shelves behind me, as you can see just a little bit. I now have a spice and condiment rack. Isn't that nice? Before we get started, I want to address a couple of comments that have been made on previous videos. First of all, the recipe for rainbow curry, whoops, backwards, there we go. Let me go ahead and get my first person back. There we go. I don't know. I looked for it, I swear. I even went into NEI and looked. And there's no recipe. I tried asking Dr. Google. Can't find the recipe. As far as I know, the only way to get it is to find it in a dungeon chest. Where did I get it? Well, I cheated it in and stuck it in the frame because it was pretty. So, there's your answer there. Whoops, I did not mean to do that. Hi, there's my face again. Okay. There we go. Get my hotbar back. The second comment I want to address was in regards to some of the information specific to Mind Fantasy is not going to be applicable to future versions of Magic Farm. Because future versions of Magic Farm, barring some miraculous update of Mind Fantasy that fixes some memory issues that it has, it will no longer be in Magic Farm. And if that happens, I will go back and revisit some of those issues. The big one, I was actually going to do this particular episode on foods that you could cook with the iron cookware, since that was kind of going to be a higher tier thing, since vanilla iron is harder to get in Mind Fantasy. When Mind Fantasy goes, that's going to go out the window too. So, instead, I will say in the meantime, one of the things I had said was that I wish that there was such a thing as a wooden bucket. Turns out there is, but the catch is you have to use birch logs. No other wood apparently works with this. A wooden bucket will work for anything except lava. But again, that's another one of those things that's going to go out the window with Mind Fantasy. Personally, I love Mind Fantasy. I'd be sorry to see it go. But if it's broken and doesn't look like it's going to be fixed anytime soon, well, it needs to go until such time as it is. Anyway, since I'm not going to be doing the show on iron cookware and stuff you could cook with it today, instead I'm going to focus on your liquids. And you'll notice down here in my hotbar, I have a bucket of water and a bucket of milk. Now, if you played vanilla and you played other mod packs, you want to save up buckets of milk and maybe even buckets of water for various purposes. But, the problem with that is, number one, they don't stack, and number two, you lose your bucket. Well, you don't actually lose your bucket. You just aren't able to use it while it's in storage with your liquid inside it. Well, in Magic Farm, let me go ahead and get survival back here. You take that water bucket, you put it in your 2x2. It turns into 4 fresh water, you get your bucket back. You take your milk bucket, same thing. You get 4 fresh milk. And you get your bucket back. Now, the other advantage to this is 1 bucket of liquid equals 1 of these. So you actually get more liquid out of each bucket that way. Also notice that they stack when full. Very handy. Now, one thing, I was going to go into soups here. Turns out soups don't require water. That's okay. I'm just going to put my buckets away. Right here. Oops. There we go. Come here. Well, poop. Get back in there. There you go. I'm going to put my water away, and I'm going to put this milk away. We're going to visit that later. One thing we're going to take a look at right now is soups. For some goofball reason, soups don't require water. What they do require, almost all of them, if not all of them, is stock. Well, how do you get stock? You can get stock from any meat, but you can also get it from bones. And we also need your mixing bowl and your pot. You take your pot, you take your mixing bowl, and if you find a skeleton spawner and you're able to trap it early in the game, this is probably going to be one of those foods that helps save your butt. You will get stock. It is an unfulfilling snack. I'm just going to make all of that up. There we go. By itself, it's not all that great, but it does work well as a base for other soups. And much like rotten flesh, you can make spider eyes perfectly safe to eat by making them into a soup with some stock. Oops. Yum, yum. Now some of the other soups you can make, let's go ahead and put this nasty stuff away here. Probably doesn't taste very good, I imagine. Let's put those bones away. Your seed soup is another light soup that you can make. Much like a real cooking show, I have some examples that just happen to already be made here. Seed soup you get from a pot, stock, and one of any seed. So if you have extra seeds lying around, that's also going to save you. Then you go on to your garden soup, which is a little bit more complex. It's your pot, your mixing bowl, your stock, and then any 2 vegetables. We'll make a garden soup. It's got a little bit heartier soup there. And the king of soups would be your chicken noodle, naturally. Requires a pot, a raw chicken, a carrot, bowl of stock, and pasta, which you make with a cutting board, dough, and butter. I'm going to show you how to make butter in a minute. You make dough with fresh water, flour, and salt. Easy peasy. Now your other commonly used liquid in cooking is going to be milk. Let me go ahead and get my milk out here. And you can make with your milk butter, heavy cream, cheese. Let's start off with cheese. Excuse me a second. I'll get my cat off the table. There we go. Cheese you make with a bucket or fresh milk, a pot, and salt. And use my spice rack here. Let me just boop. I already happen to have a pot. And there we go. There's your cheese. Now butter is almost the same, except use a mixing bowl. Get your heavy cream. Put your heavy cream there. Oops, I did it wrong. I did it wrong again. There we go. It's a saucepan, heavy cream and salt. And again, I just happen to have some made up here. Let's put that away. Put that away. Oops, that goes on the spice rack. Okay. And finally, of course, you can make a whole bunch of stuff with milk and cream and stuff like that. And your cheese and butter are going to figure into a lot of your really good recipes. Ice cream, you'll need snow for. It's a pot, milk, salt, mixing bowl. You can also make chocolate ice cream if you add cocoa beans. It's delicious. Alright, let me put this salt away. Doop. Another liquid, not so commonly thought of, would be your fruit juices. Now I mentioned the juicer, let me put this away, being a good first bit of cookware. And let's see, I'm going to put this mixing bowl away here. And I believe it's a saucepan I'm going to need, but I'll keep it out anyway. I'm going to need the cutting board too. And I get the juicer. Another thing you can do with fruit, besides making juice out of it, oh, I'm going to need sugar. Let me just grab that. There we go. You will need sugar. Throw it all on there. Strawberries, a juicer. Is it a saucepan? It is a saucepan. And that will give you jelly. This will work with pretty much any fruit that can be juiced. So you get that jelly. Now what can you do with jelly? Well, here's a hint. Let's take some peanuts. Let's run them through the juicer. Get us some PB. Get some bread to slap it on. Bread, a cutting board, PB, and J. Boy. Whoops, let's throw the bread on the floor. It's just not a show unless I throw something on the floor, isn't it? There we go. Yum. And again, like I say, you can do this with pretty much any fruit juice. We'll just put those away for now. And that is pretty much it for our look at liquids. There are some other liquids of the adult beverage variety that we will look at later. Those are complex enough to warrant a whole episode in themselves. And we will be taking a little field trip to look at the first of those soon. So until next time, bon appetit. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.